Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stasia and I'm following a high carb, low fat, oil-free plant-based diet based on the recommendations of Dr. John McDougall's book called The Starch Solution. My channel is all about my own personal health and weight loss journey, as well as helping you with yours. So if it's your first time here, be sure to check out all my What I Eat in a Day videos, my recipe videos, and if you'd like to get to know me more and kind of find out why and how I chose a plant-based diet for my health and weight loss journey, then I did make a video explaining my story and how I healed myself basically following a whole food plant-based diet. So if you'd like to get to know me a little bit more and hear my story, then I will be sure to leave that link to the video in my description box below. Also, if you are on Facebook, I have an amazing Facebook group with over 2,000 members in there who are active every single day. So if you're looking for a little bit more guidance eating this way, if you have questions, concerns, or want to celebrate your successes with others on the same journey as you, then be sure to join our Facebook group. I will leave that link in my description box below. We will be happy to have you. Okay, so as much as I love experimenting in the kitchen with a whole food plant-based diet and coming up with recipes that I love and then being able to share them with you guys, I equally love these videos as well, where I get an opportunity to kind of share with you not only my food, but my experience being on a whole food plant-based diet and what works for me and what doesn't really work for me. Everybody's so different, so all of our experiences are going to be different, but absolutely by sharing them, we can also learn from one another. When you're new to the Starch Solution or just an oil-free whole food plant-based diet in general, it can be a little bit overwhelming at first, and for some of us, it takes a little bit of tweaking to be able to get it right. And when I say some of us, I'm some of us. My experience certainly hasn't been linear. It has been a little bit more something like this. But all in all, it has been a great experience. I would definitely refer to it as a journey because that's exactly what it is. And as with most journeys, there are some bumps along the way. And that's what I want to talk about today, so let's get into it. So for those of you who have been following me for a while, or that you did watch my story on how I healed myself following a whole food plant-based diet, then you'll already know that I was vegetarian most of my life, vegan for certain parts of my life, and then now back to a vegan diet, but the first time being oil-free. So that has certainly been something new and different for me. So I have been at this now for about 7 months, I think. I really need to double check that, but I think it's been around 7 months that I decided to start following the Starch Solution. With my age, I was just getting really tired of trying to figure out or find these fad diets that only worked so long before you put the weight back on. I was really at a point that I was more interested in finding a forever way of eating, something that's going to promote optimal health as well as losing the weight. And while weight loss is a huge goal of mine, feeling good, being healthy, trying to hang on for dear life to my youth, I really wanted to find something that was going to fit the bill for all of those things. And that's where the Starch Solution came in. I remember being really impressed with all the successful weight loss stories with the Starch Solution, but I was equally impressed with all the people who were able to reverse chronic illnesses eating this way. Okay, so going back to when I first started the Starch Solution, I think it was within the first couple of months, I lost a pretty decent amount of weight, came off pretty easily, effortlessly, and quickly. If I can remember correctly, it was around 12 pounds was my initial weight loss. And then Christmas came. And actually, I should say Christmas and another COVID lockdown came. So at that time, there was a lot of staying home. There was a lot of Christmas baking with the kids to keep busy, a lot of taste testing, a lot of snacking, a lot. So as a result, I could feel that I was going back up from that initial weight loss that I had lost. I did not use a scale because, as most of you who follow me will know, that I'm also trying to not focus so much on the scale, as I have had a bad relationship with that in the past. So I am really just trying to go based on how my clothes kind of fit. We all know if the pants are fitting too tight, we know, we know. And if they're starting to feel a little bit loose, the stomach is starting to feel flatter. These are all good ways. And for me, that is so much better than stepping on the scale too often, because I find that I can get very easily discouraged or deterred, and I just really don't want to focus on that with this way of eating. This is not a diet for me. This is something that I'm trying to do as a lifestyle, like I said, as a forever way of eating. I certainly don't want to get inside my head too much if the scale isn't saying exactly what I would like it to say. So for now, I'm just checking in every month or two with the scale just to kind of see where I'm at. But like I said, I know my body well, like most of us do, and I know if I'm up or down, and I just kind of gauge it that way. And then the new year came, holidays are done, and I was feeling motivated just like the rest of the world and really got myself back on track. I also found the love of preloading, which if you guys haven't seen that video where I discuss how you can use preloading as a means to help you lose the weight a little bit faster, then be sure to check out that video. It's very informative. A lot of people have really found it to be helpful. So I will leave the link to my video in the description box below. So I really encourage you to check that one out. So with the preloading, I did want to check my weight just so that I could gauge how effective the preloading actually was. Plus it had been a few months since I did step on the scale. And so at that point, I was up a little bit from my initial 12-pound weight loss, but I certainly didn't gain all of it back. And then as a result of the preloading, I did end up dropping 6 pounds. And I'm still going. I've been feeling really great. My skin is getting more clear. I have more energy. I've been sleeping better. So it's also important to remember that there's a lot of other things outside of weight loss alone that occur when you follow a whole food plant-based diet. So just in those things alone, it has been so rewarding and exciting to see how effective it really is eating this way. And despite being on your phone right now, your TV, your laptop, wherever you're watching this video from, YouTubers are real people, not actors. Well, not most of us anyways. But like a lot of you, I also have had life throw some pretty stressful curveballs my way in the last few months. I mean, the lockdowns in themselves have been quite stressful at times. I'm in Ontario and they just keep slamming the lockdowns where we are completely restricted to stay home, to not see our family. And my husband and I were talking about that, like just that alone, to think about how inactive we are just from our normal activity. Like when you're just, even walking to your car or walking in the mall or, moving around out and about in your day, none of that's happening when you're staying at home. So that also has been difficult. I mean, now that the weather is getting warmer every day, I'm getting out with the kids, we're going for a walk. So that's something that I am really focused on doing right now, just for my mental health, as well as getting some exercise in. But it was really challenging during the winter months when we were stuck at home, we couldn't see family, we can't go out to exercise. It just made it extra difficult. On top of COVID, I've had a couple of other stressful events that have taken place in the last couple of months. Sadly, one of them being one of my lifelong friends that unexpectedly passed away. And so, among other things as well, I won't get into too much detail with that. But if you guys have been following me and know me from some of my earlier videos, then you'll know that one of my flaws when it comes to eating is that I'm a huge stress eater. Something that I've been actively working on, but I failed miserably a couple of times along the way. And with stress eating, the problem is when you're not eating because of true hunger, it really doesn't matter how healthy you're eating because you can still be consuming too many calories to actually be in a big enough deficit to continue losing. So when you're stress eating and you're snacking and all of these things, it can be vegan, it can be whole food plant-based, it can be healthy as healthy can be, but if you're eating too much, the weight is simply not going to budge. The good news is, despite some of those things taking place, I'm still pushing through, pushing on, and I always will, because I will never stop fighting for my well-being, my health, and of course my weight loss goals. All of those things are very, very important to me. So I just see this as a journey that even when these life things, obstacles, barriers, bumps, whatever you want to call them, problems in our life come, they will come, it's life. But the important thing is just to keep going. Even if you fall back a couple of times, just keep going. Because again, this isn't some crazy fad diet that you have to worry about, oh, I messed it all up, so, on to the next or never again type of mentality. No, you can just get back on that horse and keep moving. Consistency over perfection is going to win every single time. So I just tell myself, don't worry about the details, don't worry about the scale, don't worry about the numbers, don't worry. All of that will come. Just keep going, because without consistency, everything unravels. So just keep pushing. If you are in any type of situation like me, or just a state of the world, stressful things happening in your life, just keep going. So I thought I would share with you guys a handful of things that I'm currently doing to stay on track and to kind of keep things moving. So let's get into that. Okay, so for those of you who follow me, you know that I follow the regular Starch solution version, kind of mixed in with maximum weight loss. So I kind of do a hybrid between both of them, which includes some nuts and seeds and avocados. But I've actually been starting to reduce high-fat plant-based foods even more. I recently was listening to Dr. Bernard speak. I can't remember. I believe it was on the Exam Room, which is an amazing channel on YouTube. And he kind of explained the plant-based fats in a way that just made a light bulb moment go off for me. So I've heard, like most of you have too, Dr. McDougall say his famous quote, "The fat you eat is the fat you wear." Okay, I've heard it, makes perfect sense. But for some reason, when Dr. Barnard explained it, something just clicked. So basically, he had said that high-fat plant-based foods are wonderful for our health. However, they are about equivalent as consuming oil for weight loss. It was just like mind-blowing when I heard him say that. You know how you can hear one person say something and it doesn't exactly drive home for you, and then you hear someone else say almost the same thing, and it's like all the alarms and bells and whistles are going off, and it's like, oh my gosh, it just makes sense. So after hearing Dr. Barnard explain it that way, I really realized that in order to kind of start seeing some more weight loss happening, I really should hone in on those high-fat plant-based foods and just kind of reduce them for the time being. I'm not sure I'm going to completely eliminate them, but it will be more like a rare treat than a daily occurrence. The second thing I'm doing is making sure that I'm having bigger meals. That might sound counterproductive, but it makes sense. The bigger the meals, the less snacking that's going to happen. There was certain times that I was feeling kind of full, but not truly full enough to last me 4 to 5 hours or so. So now I'm trying to consume foods that actually can hold me that 4 to 5 hour space before I'm ready to eat again. And that's not to say that I'm not going to have a snack if I want or need a snack. I mean, really, I'm really trying to focus on listening to my body and what it needs. All I'm saying is that by having bigger, heartier meals with starch, enough starch, that it will hold me long enough that it will, prevent less snacking from needing to happen. And on a side note about that, I know a lot of people talk about eating potatoes in this way of eating to stay full, but beans, let me tell you, if you can tolerate them well enough, beans are a magical food for staying full. I will be discussing that a little bit more in a future video, but they have been something special for me. So I'll just leave it at that. But yes, beans are definitely underrated. Number 3 is preloading. I'm not going to get too much into it here because, again, I've already made a whole video explaining what preloading is. So just a reminder, I will have that link in my description box below. So I really encourage you to check that out. Preloading has been something fairly new to me as well, but it is amazing. It is amazing for weight loss. It is also amazing for health and also amazing just with keeping you fuller for longer. So, yeah, definitely check that out. And on top of the preloading with soups and salads, I also really enjoy just making a starchy soup or a starchy salad and having that as a one and done meal. So I either do the preloading, which is the non-starchy soup or salad, or the starchy soup or salad as a meal in itself. So both those things are amazing. I love one and done meals. Very, very simple. So it's something else that I'm focusing on right now. So be sure to check that out. The fourth thing I'm doing is something I already mentioned earlier in the video, and that is just getting out and walking more. So I think it's probably obvious that I'm not some crazy gym rat by nature. So exercise is certainly not something that comes natural to me. So I'm not really focused on getting some crazy workouts in. I'm just not in that mind and space right now. However, that might change down the road, but that just seems too big and too overwhelming for me. So For myself right now, my goal is just to get out and move more. So for me, like I mentioned earlier, getting out every single day for a walk with my kids, and they're long walks and fast walks. So my little girl's running to keep up with me. So that's certainly something that's been a goal, just to move more, because honestly, just being stuck at home for all these months, really not doing anything at all as far as activity or exercise goes, I really feel like that has also played a huge part in this. So I really just want to move more for my mental health and to add some physical activities. So that's something that you could certainly try to add as well. Just a simple walk can do it. It doesn't have to be something crazy, despite what we see on social media and everything like that. Just get moving, and I think it will do all of us some good. And lastly, watch YouTube videos just like you are now. But there are so many wonderful YouTube channels that really will get you feeling inspired and motivated. It helps you to remember the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we eating this way? Some of my favorites are Dr. McDougall, of course, Dr. Barnard, Dr. Greger, Planiful Kiki. These are all wonderful, inspiring people and channels that really just make you feel like you can do this and that you want to do this, right? So that is something that I absolutely do, and every single time it gets my motivation up. It makes me feel great and it keeps me going. All right, guys, if you know me at all by now, then you know that talking is definitely not a weakness of mine. So I'm going to leave it here. Otherwise, I might just continue on forever. So anyways, I hope that you guys found this video helpful. I hope that you found some of my tips that I'm using in my own personal life helpful, and that you can apply them to yours as well. And I hope that you enjoyed my update. So now you guys know what's going on with me. And of course, I'm going to keep going. I will keep checking in, and I will keep giving you guys all of my recipes, what I eat in a days, and all my tips and tricks, of course, that I'm learning along the way. And that kind of rhymed, but definitely not on purpose. If you are new here and you'd like to follow along my journey, as well as get all of those tips and tricks that I'm learning, then be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one.